let's switch to Ghana Law School real quick. Every year, so many people with interest and intention to get legal education in Ghana get disappointed, either by not passing an entrance exam or not just getting admission. So many, sometimes you see out of 1,000, only 100 is admitted. This year, Parliament has actually, or the Minister of Finance actually proposed that at the minimum 500 people are admitted because that's what they've budgeted for. My understanding is Parliament advocated for additional 200, making it about 700 and something. And then you will realize that on the exam, they make sure they pass the exact same 700 number that Parliament asked for, even though 2,000 people took the test. So people are saying, what a coincidence. Let me play the reaction of the SRC president of the Ghana Law School, and we'll come back to react to what we hear from him.
Last week, law entrance exam results was released by the General Legal Council. However, that particular result was for only 790 candidates. That result did not contain results of all the 2,824 students who sat for the examination. This week, the raw scores of all the candidates, when I say all the candidates, I'm referring to the 2,824 students or applicants who sat for the entrance examination at the University of Ghana. The raw scores of all the candidates was released and published. However, the results was released together with a notice. This notice sought to bring a threshold that in ought to have gotten 50% in part 1 or part A, section A. Thank you. You need to get 50% in section A and 50% in section B. It is a cumulative. You need the passes in both sessions before you have been deemed to have passed. That is what the notice, I'm talking about what the notice said. Now, it is the effects of that notice that we are all gathered here today. As SRC president, when I got a copy of the raw scores, I forwarded it to my team, and the SRC have since done an auditing of the raw scores, which we have here, the raw scores of the 2,824 candidates who sat for the exams. We have noticed that 499 candidates had the 50% and above. That these 499 per the notice have been deemed to have failed. However, using the past precedents, the 50% and above past precedents, we as SRC, I'll come to the position of the SRC, we have SRC, we have noticed that these 409 students ought not to have been deemed that they have failed.
All right, so you had the gentleman, the SRC president of University of the Ghana Law School. Now, what he seeks to explain here is that there are two parts to the exam. There's a session A and session B. Before going into the exam, all students or all candidates are aware that you have to have 50% on the exam. And what is not clear is whether the 50% need to be from the cumulative result, which means both sessions. So you can get, even if you get 40% on one session, but 60% on another session, you've still attained 50%. That is not clear. But what he's saying is that after the results were released, a notice came with the result, or he's saying a notice was released with the result. And on that notice, it was stated that you should have passed both session A and session B and get at least 50% on each in order to pass the exam. This is now according to the previous guidance. So the question is, why would you be introducing a guidance for candidates to an examination after they took the examination? And let me ask this to my brother Daniel first. Daniel, why do you think this is happening? Law school admission should be something very I think should be something easy that we can do as a country. Why are we struggling with this?
I've never attempted to get into law school, so but it's very funny. It speaks to it speaks to some fundamental issue, not necessarily specific to law school, specific to academia in general. Our country, we glorify a lot of titles, right?
Right.
We are too much title seekers. We want too much titles.
Doctor this, doctor that.
and not substance. That is my problem. Our country, everybody want the title. Oh, he's called what? Esquire. He's called lawyer. He's called so and so, honorable, His Excellency. Meanwhile, the output of what they give it doesn't match the titles. Right. I don't know what Aristotle and Plato should have called themselves then. That is the fundamental issue our society faces, because we think that these titles, by necessarily having this title, confers knowledge or
you are saying there's no productive angle to the pursuit of education in Ghana.
It's because we are seeking titles. People just want certificate to put that they have the certificate. It's hanging there. But tie the certificate to the output of what they are doing. And you'll be like, so how do we benefit from this certificate?
The ratio of lawyers to the citizens in Ghana, it's very huge.
I'm coming to the point. I wanted to give you this general background first for you to know that there's an underlying, whatever you call it, falsehood that we've created out there. That having certificates, it's the big deal. But having certificate is not an end in itself. It's a means to an end. Why do you need to go into law school? You're not going into law school because you want to come and lord it over us. You're going to law school because you want to put yourself, you want to understand how societies are functional using the law, how the law helps to advance the development of the human self. That should be the end goal of why everybody wants to go into law school. But you know what we have done? We have used the law as a profession, that these people are coming to compete with us in our profession, and we are going to be paid little. We can't exert wage pressures in the system, and that the more they come in, the more they demean the way people look at our profession. Because now people will just make it look like getting a law degree is easy.
Right.
What? If we have this perception, how are we going to grow as a country? It's having a degree, somebody's having a degree is a threat to your degree. Then it tells you that your degree is not worth what you claim it is worth. Because if you believe in yourself and you believe that you have a degree, regardless of which profession it is, and that you can still show your competence outside of that degree, then why should you have a threat about somebody else getting that same degree?
I think so you are saying they are strengthening the gate. The gatekeepers are strengthening the gate.
That can only be the end goal, because I for once cannot understand. If I have a law degree and someone has a law degree, why should I feel threatened about that?
Right.
I should see that rather as a challenge to me to prove that, hey, it is not just going to a law school and learning law. The practice of it and the other things that you bring on board also matters, and differentiate myself that way. You get what I'm trying to say? But in Ghana, people don't differentiate themselves by their own ingenuity. They differentiate themselves by just having titles. Doctor, so and so. He has so and so degree. That is what people use to differentiate people.
Right.
Regardless of whether their performance matches to that title or doesn't match to the title in the workplace, they don't care. All they care is they differentiate you by your titles. If you run a society like that, you have a problem. Abuju, in this country, who cares about whether you have a master's or you have a PhD or you have whatever? What they care is what you bring to the table. Can you do the job? Productivity. Can you perform? So you see that people are not so much tied to titles per se, so much tied to degrees per se. What people are tied is what? Practical experience, skills development. Therefore, you getting your master's degree does not put a threat to that professor who has a PhD degree. Because he knows that at the end of the day, this was just a means to an end. It's just one piece of the equation. But in Ghana, we've made it an end in itself.
Right.
That fundamental is the problem. Because otherwise, look at how education is so decentralized here. People take different paths. They can still be a lawyer, paralegal studies. They have different options. And even that, you can time it based on your own calendar schedule. You do it as and when you want to take it step by step. You move from one step to the other. You do this, and then before you realize you are there. But in Ghana, they fix you a calendar. If you are sick and something happens to you and you mix out on that calendar,
it's not to you.
you are forever doomed. You will have to. You see how the system is rigid. Instead of making it flexible for people to do it at their own time.
But they are saying that they have to set very high standards to kind of put out the quality of lawyers that will serve the country well.
Oh, that is a noble idea. Putting up good standard, you can achieve that same good standard by creating flexibility in the system. Yeah, do you know how they create those standards? Yes, they will allow people to have legal education wherever you want to get. You can decide not even sit in the classroom, take the book and learn it by yourself, and then go and write the bar exams. If you can pass that bar exams, then you've proven yourself that you've met their standard. But passing the exam doesn't guarantee that you'll be the best lawyer.
But also here you have to write the LSAT. You just can't.
No, that is the entrance. You're talking about getting to the law school, the pre-qualification requirement.
And that is exactly what the problem is here. This is the law school entrance exam that, they've actually tried to squeeze out how many people even get access to the law school. But there's only one law school in the country.
But that is a problem. Why do you put a cap on it? Because you don't have what do you call it? The quotas to admit people, right? Because you think that you don't have by doing this, you are perpetuating that thing forever. When are you going to get personnel that are going to come into a law school and teach people? Because you are always cutting down on the number of people that qualify. So in the long term, this problem that you are creating, you are just compounding it long term. Instead of making many people, come into the system, let them show themselves, approve that they are prepared, they can teach, and then eventually you get a lot of lecturers in the system that will teach one way or the other. But having a lot of lecture doesn't mean that people just pass this exam. You have a standard exams that eventually people will have to, regardless of wherever you went to be taught this law thing, you still have to pass the standard exams. That will be our final way of assessing you to say that, okay, you are now qualified into this profession. And
now we don't have a bar exam.
So now what are we don't have a bar exam, and we are now using this to stop everybody. That is not an efficient way to get to the same outcome. You can get to that same outcome by just slightly changing the approach that you're using now. But what they are doing now, we are only compounding that issue of, what do you call it, not getting many people to come into the law faculty to teach. And we are creating a future problem. And that will serve the interest of those that go through it, because their wages and salaries can be high. They are the only people that can be employed. But it doesn't serve the national interest.
Right.
That for me is my challenge. How come these very people that we said fail, they go to Gambia and they're able to pass those law exams? They go to some other countries, even if they come to the United States here, they can pass. If they study and approve themselves, they can pass the same exams here. Think about it. The fact that you fail an exam, there could be so many factors that go into it. And remember, this is a one-time exam. The exams that people write here, people sometimes feel that it's not that everybody passes them, but at least people have confidence that I'm not failed because somebody knows me. I'm failed because there's a standard system that is predictable.
Right.
You go into that computer room, whatever they call it, they have this standard exams rooms that you register. There's an independent body that administers the exams for you.
Right.
You go in there and you take it. So that independent person is not tied to any employment that if these people pass, they'll come and take my job from me. So you see, the control process is such that the people who fear that their profession will be taken away from them are not the ones determining.
I don't necessarily doubt the fairness on those grounds that people will fail you intentionally. Though I think the issue,
even if that is not there, the system that has been created fuels that perception. Why do you want to fuel that perception with this system?
Right. I think there are check and balances, right? Like we are looking at the SRC talking about, they actually went and examined the raw scores, and what they found is that there is 499 additional pass people who obtain 50% and above, but those people were not admitted or were not declared as people passing, and that is because of the notice that was released post the exam, which is you're setting the rules after the exam, and we are like, isn't this illegal to do? I mean, people are have the right for prior notification, right? They have to be aware. And there was a case between WAEC and I'm forgetting the name of the case, but it was pronounced by the court that you should have prior and adequate notification of the expectation of exam takers before they go into the exam. So why would you?
That is a standard thing you do everywhere across the globe for any standard exams. People know the rules of engagement prior to coming into the exams hall. It's a surprise. You don't do anything afterwards. That is just fair. That is what it's called being just to everybody, right? But like I said, think about it. it's not just law school. Oh. Law school, the angle of it is coming up because even the way people get into medical school.
Right.
Because we don't have spaces for these people, we cut it at some point automatically. It doesn't mean that the people who were cut off can't do the program. Oh. It's just because the system that we've created is said that we haven't thought about expanding it and giving more access. We just limit it to a few privileged people, and then many, many other people who were qualified or who will be qualified by American standards will not even get access into our system because we haven't provided enough spaces. So there's an issue of the supply side providing enough room to be able to admit many people and having enough lecturers on board to be able to teach these people. These are all opportunities that we are letting go.
So you think there's a supply side issue we should expand?
There's a supply side issue we should expand and then bring in more people who come in and teach.
And it's amazing that we only have one professional law school in Ghana, and it's been like that for how many years? It has been like that forever since independence.
I believe they are creating campuses, if I'm not mistaken. They said they have campuses.
They're building the legal village, which we are aware of, but we are saying there's only one Ghana law school, which is the professional school. If you go to Gimpa and get the LLB, you still have to come to what do you call it? The Makola, in order to become a lawyer in Ghana.
I don't understand that. In America, when you go to a university and you pursue whatever law, assuming you went to a university and you did your law degree, at the end of the day, don't you just subject yourself to that state bar exams and that it's all?
You are done.
So why can't we have a similar system like that? Let the Ghana Professional Law School be the body that sets the exams and set one bar exam. Why should I even be in Tamale and come to Accra to take just an exam? You can set it on the internet. Let everybody here we write GRE. We do write ACEs. We use computer to type the exams. Somebody assess it. They don't even know where you are. They don't care where you are. And then they give you your score.
Right. Even the LSAT now, it's actually done on the computer because of the COVID and all. They migrated to the computer as well. You do it at your home. You don't even need to go to an exam hall.
Exactly. If you need to do a paperwork, there will be these centers that are independent of the examiners, are independent of the lecturers, that are professionally just there to, run examinations for people. Like here you have, I've forgotten some of the popular names.
View and
exactly, examination centers that have strict regulations. They don't have any interest in your score because they are not the same people who set up the question. The question is being set by some independent person and they administer it and you go in and you prove yourself. That way, at the end of the day, if I fail, I might clear in my mind that it is not the same person whose interest is that I'm going to take his career, that is setting the question and marking my paper. This conflict of interest. So
by the way, Prometric and Pearson, they're actually in Accra. They're in the city house. I've taken an exam there before.
It's through Prometric. So why can't we use these centers and have the exams questions set that way? People go in there at their own time. When you think that you are ready, you are prepared. Not box people into this fixed calendar regime thing and make it flexible. So that when I go and learn and I think that, now I think I'm prepared, I'm ready for this exam, any point in time I can book that, exams date and go and write it.
Great.
Create flexibility in the system for everybody.
Okay, so I get your point. Your concern is, they are focused in the wrong area. It should be the supply side that is tackled and kind of open it up for more people. And not only limited to the law school. They should be done in the medical school, the schools of accountancy, pharmacy. We should open the system up so that
and the people are paying for it. My goodness sake, you have a product that is in high demand. People want to pay for it, and yet you can't create and take advantage of the demand that is sitting out there for your product.
Right.
Opportunity we are just letting go.
Right. Yeah. So thanks for that. Let me bring in Ato on this one. Ato, Ghana. I don't know this. I don't know what we will get right. It's like everything just gets screwed up in one way or the other. So, even some issue as this. Yeah.
This is the culture Lifetime was talking about. This is our culture. This is actually our culture. And it's sad that in 2007, when I arrived in Chicago,
right,
I wanted to do everything afresh. I was a nurse back home in Ghana. I wanted to do everything afresh.
Right.
At the college level, I was surprised that my instructor told us we can have a cheat sheet. A cheat sheet.
Right.
With all the formulas. So I said to myself, what is going on in my country? Actually, they want you to fail. So I asked the professor, why do we have no, I want you to pass. So we have this diabolic culture in our country that needs to change. It needs to change. Like I don't know why in Ghana. It's not just like my brother Daniel was saying. It's not just the legal profession. In every profession, nursing profession, the medical profession too. I mean, over here in this country, like I have a doctorate degree, and like I tell everybody, it's not a big deal. That's why I don't carry my doctorate degree around. I feel like in America you can succeed if you want to.
Right.
If you want to,
you don't need a doctorate degree.
I mean, it's a big feat to achieve a doctorate degree. I agree with that, but I'm saying that it's doable, and it's easier to even get into the doctoral program. But what do we see back home in our country? It's like my brother said, these professors don't want you to reach that feat, and it is so sad that in America, I'm really interested in law school. If I want to go, just to take the GRE and get into a school. If I can pay my tuition, I have to pass the boards. So
but Daniel is saying here that it is the end to which they consider those certificates. They consider them as the end, not as a means to an end. Because if you do consider it as a means to an end, then you want more people to have those tools.
And I agree with him. I agree with Daniel totally. Because like he said, you allow more people to get into school, and then you have board exams. Right. Like I said, I did my board exams in nursing over here, and I did my doctorate in nursing degree, and I didn't have it. I'm saying it's difficult to do all these programs.
Right.
If you compare Ghana, the way we treat students, the way we treat the doctoral program, like as if it's something unimaginable. Like we make it so hard for students. Like look in Cuba, they train doctors. Some of the doctors they train in Cuba may not even be able to go to nursing school in Ghana, but they allow them to go to medical schools, and they're able to pass the boards and come to Ghana, our country, to be doctors. In Ukraine, do you know how many people are in medical school in Ukraine? That people, nurses back home in our country, can go to Ukraine and become doctors and come back to our country
to practice. Right.
So, like, that's what I'm saying. We have that diabolic culture in our country that it needs to change, because having more lawyers in our country will mean more access to lawyers. All these people that people are infringing their rights on will have people to speak on their behalf. Why is the legal profession making it so hard for people to? I don't know. You know what? And what annoys me so much is that some of these lawyers are not even paying tax. They get cash from their clients. I'm not even paying tax.
And they're not disclosing it.
Yeah, they're not disclosing it, and then they like I said, they want less lawyers so that they can make the money to themselves.
They can monopolize that. Yeah.
Yes, and we are a third world country. You think that we would consider Cuba? We consider Ukraine. We can train so many professionals to be able to export. The Philippines, they export nurses to the US. They have so many nurses all over the world. Because they feel like it's a profession. If you can pass the exams, you make it through. So I feel like it's a diabolic culture in our country. It's not just the legal profession. That, like Lifetime will say, this is a culture.
Right.
This culture is diabolic. It needs to change. Some of the topics we have to discuss. Not somebody who feels like, hey, my orientation is towards a. I don't really care about. I feel like these are some of the things that we can discuss. Parliament should make laws. They should send a bill to Parliament to change some of these laws. I'm talking about needless stuff like homosexuality and gayism. It's unfortunate.
All right. Thank you so much for that short and sincere, straight to the point submission. Your view is, we need to open the system up, just like we've heard from our brother Daniel as well. What do you say to this two submissions that you've heard from our brothers? And what is your view on, access to legal education in Ghana, Lifetime Legacy?
Thank you, Alfred. I like how smart my senior brother, Ankratu, was trying to pay back what I did in the first round. Anyway, let me go to the point. I think.
What do you mean by that? What are you? I didn't follow that.
I played mischief on Ankratu, and he found a nice way of getting back to it. So I like that. I like his smart way of doing it.
Anyway, I think what is going on as far as legal education is concerned in Ghana over the last 5 years is a worry to people who are interested in studying law. I here for now, I don't know if I have the interest of doing it or I'll have the interest to do it maybe one day. I don't know. But I think I don't know what the problem is for which 2,800 people will sit for the exams, and out of it, they will deliberately decide to pick 700 people, whilst there are opportunity for people to pursue higher learning of education. Is it because we don't have adequate infrastructure? If that is the situation, what can we do to increase the current infrastructure that we have or improve the infrastructure we have? Is it that people are just deliberately deciding to restrain the number of people who pass through legal education? I don't have the full facts, so I am much mindful of what my opinion is going to be on this.
Okay.
If it is because we don't have the infrastructure, I think there are a lot of private schools, universities in Ghana. Why won't the law school affiliate with them so that they'll be able to absorb people who will come or apply for the program?
Right.
I don't know if my point is clear. If we have if the constraint is about infrastructure, the government is not able to provide enough rooms for the student to be accommodated. We have the universities like Central University, Valley View University, Ashesi University, Ashley University. I mean, those private universities, including some that are yet to come, they have the facility to accommodate those people. I think if it is not for whatever reason, maybe there might be a reason best known to them that you and I don't know, that is giving them the edge to do what they are doing. If not, I don't see why they have to restrain people from pursuing higher learning of education, because the more people pursue higher learning of education, the better our society becomes.
Right.
The enlightened the society becomes.
Okay.
The cheaper the what do you call it? The people who need law, lawyers or the services of lawyers will become.
Right.
So I think we let's all add our voice to know why and what the constraints are and how best we can shape the constraint with our opinion for them to allow or to open up for more people to pursue the law, and so that it will become easier and accessible to our citizens.
Okay,
so this will be my take on it.
Thank you so much. So in concluding on this topic, I like to say that, because I think we all agree that, I mean, going forward, the focus should be on expanding access to, all kinds of educational setups, whether it's medical school, law school, etc., so that we can get more people who are interested, who have the ability to pay, willing to go in to have those access, and that perhaps will add to, our professionals who would.
Alfred, I have a question also.
Developing and changing. Yeah, go ahead with your question.
I have a question.
Quickly, yes.
I think we are having a lawyer as a president. This should be of interest to him.
Right. Yeah.
So what is he doing about it? This is harmless question anyway.
Yeah. So now my question really is, which I just want your quick yes or no on this, is that, or add your voice to whether you're supporting the SRC, because what the SRC is saying is that, before going into the exam, the notice you gave is that, people have to pass and get only 50%, but you changed that. If you had not changed that, there's 499 additional people who have passed who should be admitted in one way or the other. They're asking, the legal counsel to find room for them, the law school to find room for these people. Do you support what the SRC is saying in this case, in a short term, as a short-term solution? Increase access, they identify buildings that are now being used currently in a vicinity of the school that can be used for lectures, etc. And that there are lecturers on campus willing to even do the additional teaching needed to support the 499 additional students.
Sure, I support any call in that regard. That it is not a pleasant situation where you get admission and you'll be put on hold. It's not a pleasant situation.
Right.
So I support the call by the SRC. If the reason is not, like I said earlier on, the constraint of infrastructure,
right,
and they can do something about it, why not? Like I also said earlier on, if the constraint is about infrastructure, something can be done about it.
Right.
If temporary, they don't have the means to provide the infrastructure, they can fall on these private universities that have access. You get it? And I also think there's too much waste in the system. I say this because when you look at where I'm schooling here, the number of student population in the school vis-a-vis the infrastructure, you can realize that they are making use of it. You get it? So all those things also need to be checked.
Right.
Where the excess losses, they can make good use of it. They should make good use of the little they have. If you are able to accommodate 700, a little by 700, they should find a way to get the rest of the 400 also into the system, because it's not an easy experience to have to pass an exams, then you will not be admitted from no fault of yours.
Okay.
And I think there is also, based on your submission and that of the SRC, the institution is also having a way, they are not being truthful and forthright with the people also. Because if they will give the people one set of communication prior to the exams, and then come back after the exam and give another set of communication, I don't think they are being truthful to the people.
Okay,
right. And the president must have interest.
That is our culture.
Yeah, the president is not part of our culture. That is dishonesty behavior. And the president, that is a lawyer, must have interest.
We're a bunch of dishonest people. That is we Ghanaians. We are very dishonest people.
The president
what is your position?
The president who is a lawyer must have interest in people at his fraternity being dishonest. If I'm to go by or borrow my brother Daniel's word. This is his fraternity.
That is not the most burning issue on the president's agenda. But let me ask Daniel. Daniel, I mean, the SRC is saying that the 499 people should come to the school. They are doing everything possible to make that happen. But the budget provided is for only 500. We've actually added 200 more than what is in the budget. How are we going to fund this?
Yes, I don't think, on a practical level, given the way they've been running this, I don't think they've made provision for that extra 400 people, even though they've passed. Right. And that just speaks to the issue that I'm talking about, that many of the people who even failed those exams, if they had the opportunity to take in some other jurisdiction, they'll probably sail through. So you see, that should tell you that the problem is bigger than just the 700 people that we've said, we've created a budget for. The 400 people, I don't think they have the money, the resources to accommodate them. So on a practical level, they are constrained. They can't bring them in, even though they've passed. So, and that is why I said it's not peculiar to them. In the medical school, that's why they use your raw score, right? At that point, they'll go to your raw score. Somebody gets, what do you call it? What is the new WASIC standards? D7 or C5. C5, if you have C5 throughout in this country, you can get a university, a normal standard university to go to. It might not be the Harvard, it might not be the Yale, but at least a normal standard university qualifies you to get into. But Ghana have those same grades, and you will not even get a normal standard university to go to. So you see, the issue, like I'm saying, it's about the supply side, having to accommodate all these people. So these people that have passed, I'm afraid they can't accommodate them on the practical level. Let's be practical and let's be realistic, because this constraint is there. It is not that it is because of this extra 400 people that it has come to be there. The 700 is what they can take. Lecturers too cannot be overused in that sense. There's some, optimal level of student-lecture ratio that you have to balance because you want to provide, equitable access education to everybody. So also look beyond just our personal interest and get the 400 people in there. If you get the 400 people in there, the lectures cannot contain them. What have you done?
Right.
You are spoiling the whole thing for everybody else.
Right.
So it's unfortunate. I feel their pain. It's sad for them. But I should think that what can happen is that they should probably prioritize them for the next whatever calendar year and apologize to them, be forthright, let them know that we face a real challenge and this is where we are. Let the people understand that you are being forthright with them. They are human beings. They are not, excuse me to say, stupid people. They can appreciate, but to try and play tricks on them and lie to them, that will anger them the most. And then let them know that because of these numbers, we are going to take those that necessarily got the highest score.
Right.
Okay. That way they know there's an objective standard that you're using to determine who comes in and who doesn't come in. And then they can feel that, okay, if we all passed and somebody had 65 and I had 50, then obviously the 65 person getting in, I shouldn't be bothered because his score is higher than mine, right? There's an objective standard to everybody. So I feel their pain. But if you have the lecturers and they can accommodate them, then what reason have they got to ask these people to go back and sit? They should just take them in. So SRC, please don't just come from the student side and like we usually do. Oh, because we are student leaders, all we do is we talk from the student side. Assess it holistically and also look at it from the professors or the lecturer side, from the school standpoint, what resources they have. And then be balanced. If you come with a balanced communication, you win the confidence of both the lecturers and both the students. But if you come with just one-sided argument and try to argue, ignore all the other, practical implications and constraints, then you are not being an honest broker. And that way you lose confidence when you are negotiating for any people in any circumstances. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, Dr. Ato, we are hearing Daniel says that, practically it's impossible to actually bring even these 499 people on board. Now, wouldn't this be some sort of violation of the people? Aren't we perpetrating any type of injustice?
We've been doing that for ages, and that is why we must be angry.
Right. So we can't just say for the sake of lack of resources, the country if the country feels like the resources are not available, the country can go ahead and perpetrate injustice against people.
Alfred, it happens in all sectors, even the police sector. You're recruiting people. You have X number of positions, but you're selling over 1,000
forms.
Forms.
Yeah. To whatever reasons, why they sell those forms still in Ghana, it baffles me.
I'm talking about cost of corruption. Like, let people know what to expect.
Right.
Before they even take the exams. And then if even you made errors, like my brother said, tell them that maybe the next academic year, they'll get in.
They'll get in, yeah.
But we are
admitting you, but take 1 year off, we'll put the structures in place, come back in, so that next year you don't have to worry about writing the same exam. Right. But you're taking their money now and give them an exam that they pass, and you're telling them you're not,
And it happens in every sector of, like I'm saying.
Right.
We recruit all these Cuban doctors who sometimes may not even know anything, that we feel like they're competent.
Right.
To our country, they come to our country, they have no clue what they're doing.
Right.
But then our own people, we feel like we can just do anything to them. We can just abuse them in this way.
Anyway.
There's a culture that I am talking about that lifetime since we have a culture.
Right.
With diabolic culture in a country where professors feel like they hold everything that you have in their hands.
Right.
Just drop it one day and that's it.
Right.
So, Alfred, going forward, we have to be careful as institutions how we treat citizens.
Right.
In our country. Like even in Ghana, we are giving people to pay so much money from Nigeria to come and do medical school in our country.
Right.
You have the money, you can pay, and then fee paying, you become
a medical doctor.
Yes, with even any degree. With any degree.
Right.
Say I had 15. They said, I don't qualify just because I don't have the money to do it.
Right.
That's the culture I'm talking about. Like in this country, like I'm saying, you can do whatever you want if you have the will to do it.
Okay. Let me take a few comments, and then what we'll do is I'll bring Lifetime Legacy. You first. You will go first. Give us your closing words. I think we've done 2 hours, 15 minutes, and I'm so grateful for all of you for hanging in there, those watching us, and also importantly to my panelists for staying there. I know you have other things scheduled for the day. So from I think there's a guy Mauli Yao Kujo. He really likes Daniel. He's enjoying everything you are saying, Daniel. And Efa, who actually dodged us today, but in his place we gained Daniel, which we are grateful for. But Efa, we miss you on the program. Efa says, great team of Ghanaians with the nation at heart. Except, okay, Efa is about to play some shenanigans, but let's see what he says. He says, except Ghana agenda, I'm enjoying the discussion. Okay, that is from Akko Radio. Who's EO? EO has to be, Edward Ofori, Dr. Edward Ofori, who's one of our directors at Akko. Edward Ofori, thanks for watching. We really appreciate your time and support for this program. And then I think it has to be him again. He says, do we have pathways for these lawyers to jobs or create jobs in Ghana? Anybody want to take that?
Yeah, I can take that. I mean,
yeah, sure. So go ahead. I think he's saying, do we have pathway for them to actually gain jobs after they come out of the law school, or can they create their own jobs? Just like we know lawyers can actually just set up shop and,
I think it's one of the professions that doesn't need governmental employment.
Right.
Yeah. So I think there's so much opportunity in that regard.
Right.
I think the Attorney General's department has so many positions for
vacancies.
They don't pay well.
They have so many vacancies. They don't pay well. If you listen to Kisi Ajaben, the special prosecutor, the other day, he's in business of hiring lawyers now because he's now setting up the office. There were no staff prior to him going in there. So even on the government side, there are vacancies, but like you heard, my brother said, government doesn't pay. But most of these lawyers actually are able. This is one profession that you can actually set up your own little practice, right? Or you can join private practice and continue to, because the ratio really is imbalance. If you go to Ghana, it's usually Kumasi and Accra that has the most lawyers, and the rest of the country, the ratio is really bad. So I think they can get job or create one for themselves. But Daniel, you were going to tackle this. So what's your position?
I was going to speak to the same thing. The way the legal profession works is it depends on which area. Law, there's general law and then there are specifics, right? People specialize in different areas. If you go and you specialize in something like constitutional law, then, obviously, if you are just dealing in constitutional law matters, then you should think that you should be looking for a job that it's aligned with when people come with constitutional issues. If you go especially in land issues, then you see that you can have a different path because there are so many land issues all over the country.
There are about 70% of the cases in the system.
Exactly. So
you take an average of, and even so, you're now living on the lawyer side, right? Because the more law students that pass through the system, the more judges we can have, because there are cases stuck in the system for 10, 20 years to resolve.
Yeah, and there's arbitration system, right? This alternative dispute resolution mechanism. Lawyers played so many different diverse roles that they can be engaged and then be doing something on the side and getting their own money and stuff. So as for job for lawyers, it's only lazy lawyers who will say they are not being engaged. If you know what you're about, you always get this, but of course you have to prove yourself to be a good lawyer and that is why their ethics is very important. They keep ethics and standards as one of the biggest things, because that is how they safeguard the integrity of the profession, because they know people are out there doing their own thing. That is what I said, just keep it the standard and let somebody enforce them. Have these bar exams out there, when however they go and learn it and they come and they pass that standard.
It's up to them.
Who cares? Let them go and prove themselves that after they've passed, that they are what they say they claim to be. Right. In this country, when you get your certificate, you have to go and prove yourself out there that I'm worth the certificate. If you go and don't perform on the job, we fire you.
It's not the end of just getting the certificates. You have to continue to meet the CPE requirements.
Exactly. Continuous improvement.
Continuous training. Otherwise, your law certificates alone is not going to be enough. Even in accounting, I know that when you're CPA and you don't get your CPA requirements, the CPA license is yanked away.
Right. So they value that certificate, yes, it brings you to a certain point. It's a necessary condition, but it's
Right.
not a sufficient thing.
Right.
You have to do some extra work on top
Yeah.
of that to get sufficiently approved that, yes,
Right.
you understand this profession. So I should
And I
think that,
thought it's the same in medicine as well, right, Doc?
yeah, Ghana, we think that certificate is a sufficient you've reached. Once you get a certificate, you can go and sit there and relax and play laziness. And your certificate alone, by your titles alone, should qualify you for the job. I'm afraid it doesn't work like that in serious countries. And we need to start thinking like serious people that really are not certificate driven. That is why everybody wants to get this certificate. Even if they will not use it for anything, it will just get them a job, some director. Meanwhile, it doesn't cut it. That is not how things work, please. Let's start taking our minds off these certificates. It's good. I'm not saying it's not good. But beyond that, people have to show themselves that they are, better candidate. If somebody has practical experience and you can convert that to, some year like they do, they can say if you have 10 years experience, maybe 2 years will count like a master's degree or something. They have equivalence. They tried because they understand that there are some things, no matter how smart you are in that academia, you will never know until you are in the practical. You have the experience in the field. They get all that. And education is not one thing. Like people, it's not just formal education. Informal education, there are so many things you learn, you pick, that we cannot crystallize all and put in the classroom setting for you.
Right.
So let's be broad-minded, let's be open-minded about the way we look at education. And I think that if we do that, everybody will be fine.
Right.
As for this big title, Esquire, lawyer, this, honorable, His Excellency, big titles. I don't even know why we are so much we glorify these things. This country, who cares whether you're a doctor? Show me what you've done. Show me your output. That is what brings me productivity and brings me the revenue. It's not about your title that is on your name. And sometimes there's even a mismatch. Honorable, but everything that they do is dishonorable.
Dishonorable. Well, all I can say to that is we have a lot of work to do as a country. If I came back to say that, what is the expansion? I think he's trying to say, what is the expansion policy? This attitude of ours where we wait till things are out of place, then we want things corrected as emergency is not going to cut it. All right, we get it. Lifetime legacy is being very mischievous. So somebody's tracking you, somebody's watching and tracking all your mischievousness. And then FA finally says, the solution is double track to absorb them all just as we're doing at the SHS level. Or we wait till we have the infrastructure. Infrastructure needs must be taken care of every year. We should not wait for the intake to get to this level. Exactly. But double track.
If I and a double track.
I guess one point, Daniel, also, one observation from Daniel was that, would the professors be available to teach the double track or to teach the additional students that will be brought on board?
Yeah, they can be available if we had a flexible system where, like you said, the prometric, you can go and take the exams. Objective doesn't mean that you didn't learn.
Yeah, but the Ghana system is currently such that you have to go to the Ghana Law School. That
is what I'm saying. But if you write the exams, these same professors will have to spend time marking them. So you see that process we could have.
But beyond, so you mean what you are saying is that don't even go to the Ghana Law School at all. Just come back and take a bar exam.
No, I'm not. This is what I'm saying. Even if they have this Ghana Law School that you have to go, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you go to the Ghana Law School? That is the question. The why. Why do you go there? It's because they want you to get a certain proficiency and level grade. But how do you assess that grade? That proficiency that you want the person to get, at the end of the day, you assess them by some exams, right?
Right, which is continuous exam because they have to go through so many different papers.
So what I'm saying is that why don't you have an exam system that the professor don't have to sit down there and be marking scripts? Maybe program it in some computer setup. When these students come, let them go and that standard that you want, set it up in some system that is controlled, independent. Right. You have it there. Let them go and write it so that you take the professor's effort from sitting down and marking all these papers. That takes time. That way their time can be freed, like you said, for some other students that they can be teaching whilst these other people just go out there. But now these same professors will have to come and sit down back and mark the script. When are they going to get the time?
Right. So in the long term, though, what you're saying is what we should do. But immediately, we are saying this 499 students. Could the solution be a double track?
Well,
I
don't.
believe so. Like weekend education. People go on weekends. But then we
Right.
also think about increasing the finances, increasing the amount of money we pushing into.
We allocate to.
Yes, we allocate to these professors.
But we don't have money to pay for a lot of things in Ghana. So again,
But then
we are in the middle of actually our
you don't let them for the exams and then tell them you don't have money to do A, B, or C. Let them know let them know what to expect.
So this kind of tells you what our priorities are, right? Because the things we actually invest in, we've invested in a factory for sugar that is laying fallow and nothing is happening. We've invested in so many projects that are laying there and nothing is happening. We're not investing in our law schools to expand them. We're not investing in our medical schools to expand them so that our people can be healthy. We go all the way to the extent of bringing doctors from Cuba, to take care of our people, and that needs to stop going forward. Yeah. So let's do that.
Alfred, I want to ask a question. Have we learned any lesson?
Add your last words after the question so we can wrap the program up, please.
Okay. So have we learned any lesson out of this? You see, next year, those who the first favorite double track have produced, a lot of them will apply to the various universities in Ghana. What preparation are we making towards absorbing those people?
Right.
Are we going to come back here to discuss the very thing we are discussing here when it gets to the double track candidates who are applying to the various universities?
I think the universities don't really have the problem, right? Because the universities, we have private ones that are even being accredited on a day-to-day basis. But what we are saying is the law school is only one. And
I understand
the issue. The university before you even get there. So absorbing people into the
I understand the situation very well. I understand the situation very well.
Right.
But I'm only giving you an upcoming trouble different from what we are discussing now.
But I think those people are already in university too. The first batch is already in university anyway. But I do get your point that we increase the number of people that can actually go through our educational system at the secondary level, and that we should do some amount of infrastructure increases at the tertiary level. Otherwise, we're going to see double track. That's what you're saying, right?
Absolutely.
But the answer to that is there are private universities being opened in Ghana on a day-to-day basis, and they are able to absorb some of the excess number.
So if the person is unable to afford the education at the secondary level, in terms of fee pay, would the person be able to pay when he or she is admitted at the university, the private, and we know how exorbitant?
Would you rather they stay home without education?
Right.
I didn't get you.
You want to hear the argument for? They say you're smuggling in.
No, I'm not smuggling. You see, we are all talking about the constraint in the law school. That's what we are discussing now.
You see, you are comparing apples to oranges. You're talking about phases where they have completed a program, completed the whole program. But my question to you is, would you rather they stay home and not go to school?
Right. That sounds like the free SHS people are about to get you.
I don't want to be tempted in that regard. Let me go forward and make my point.
Okay, so with your last words, and let's roll.
Yeah, so my last word on the topic we've discussed for the day is that we want the government to do what it can to get more of our citizens vaccinated.
Right.
They should make efforts for once to stop the lala the cap and arming, for begging for vaccine.
Right.
The money the president is using in flying luxurious jets here and there, if saved, can get not less than 1 million of our citizens vaccinated. So the president should save the taxpayers from now to next year, so that money can be channeled to the vaccine for us to get more of our citizens vaccinated.
Right.
And then on the issue of the economy also, they should not take the situation, the inflation currently as it is, or the situation as the better way. Is because people are not employed. Expenses, people spending power has gone down. That is why we are enjoying this holiday. Measures should put in place to solve situation before it gets out of hand. On the issue of the law school, more infrastructure should be put in place if that is the problem, or whatever the bottleneck is should be addressed so that next year we will not come back and be discussing issues like this.
Right.
But my biggest call will go to the lawyer who is currently the president, should have interest in what is going on at the law school.
All right. We would have that coming. I'm sure his people are watching and this video is going to make it to him. So your message will be delivered. Let's go to my brother, Daniel. Daniel, so the purpose of this last words really is for whatever you may have missed that you would like to say and your overall conclusion on all the things we talked about. So we talked about a couple of things. We talked about COVID vaccinations in Africa, in Ghana, and what we expect in 2022. We talked about the price pressure that we are likely to see, going forward, because we have a lot of, money in the system from all the response investments or expenditures we did during COVID. And we are saying that inflation is likely to continue to grow up, and whether we should. So you've been very helpful in that topic, and you want to sum it up nicely for us. Hopefully, though, next week, let's talk about what the debt situation will look like going forward, if you have the opportunity, and also the digital revolution that is taking place in the world, whether Accra can make use of 5G at this point, and what the level of investment into that is, and other things that, of course, I'm sure you'll be interested in. So give us your last word, and then we would bring this to an end.
Thank you, Amuzu, and thank you, my co-panelist. Yeah, so what I'll say is the vaccine issue, we should put everything in context. I mean, why do we need a vaccine? That is the question we always need to ask ourselves. Why do we need something?
Right.
The why will always give us the approach, whether the approach we are using makes sense or it doesn't make sense.
Right.
You need a vaccine because you want to be able to control the spread of the COVID. And remember, vaccine, it's one way of doing that. You can also control the spread of the COVID using other methods, but we want a more lasting solution, right? A solution that is better and lasting, so that if you even let you lose yourself, you lose guard, at least that protection
that protection
is there. It's stronger. The other methods that we are talking about, you can use them, but we are human beings. If you just rely on those for a very long time, at some point people will lose their guard and things will slip through. So it's about risk management. Right. That is what is happening here. The vaccine, we are even being told, doesn't mean that everybody who gets vaccinated will not get COVID.
Right.
So it's 90% effective.
Medicine is advancing too, because the vaccines really are the preventive measures, right? But then there is the mitigation that we are saying is it remdesivir, the other medicines that we can use to treat people when they actually contract so like you're saying, it's not only in vaccination, but other means, including...
Right. So even when you get the vaccine, you still have to take extra precaution.
Right.
You get what I'm trying to say? So what I'm trying to say is that because it's risk management, you have to manage it in such a way, because we don't have the vaccine available to us as a country, Ghana, in unlimited supply, right? Now, the developing countries are trying to make sure that their people get vaccinated first before it reaches us. So when it comes to the context of Ghana, what do we have to do? We have to use a risk-based approach, that we cannot vaccinate everybody at a go. Start looking at where the risks are high, especially where people congregate. You get what I'm trying to say? And start from there. Your nurses, of course, they have to be secure before they can secure the lives of other people. So you start with them. Thankfully, we still have these airport measures in place. So you see that all the other complementary measures to manage the risk are still going to be in place. While as the supply comes in bits, we try and vaccinate the section of the population that needs it the most for now. And like, you're going to have students that are going to be engaged because they are going to be in boarding houses. So you have to do this risk-based approach and tackle the people that need it the most for now, supply them, and then as the supply
is going on right now, though. Do you think we are using the risk-based approach?
I'm doubtful because it appears to me like in America here, when they started, they said 65. When was it? They looked at the most exposed people, which is 65, and the data said that those people were prone to die quickly if they had the disease. So it wasn't open to everybody. They were just vaccinating 65 and those that had chronic disease. So you see, they were using a risk-based approach to minimize the fact that if we don't vaccinate these people and it hits them, the death rates were going to be so high. So we should be using those approach. If Ghana people have underlying condition, we should be prioritizing them, and maybe people who are 65 and above that we've come to know that they are most vulnerable, and then push it to our healthcare workers who need it, so that by the time the supply issue resolves itself, we can have vaccines that is available for everybody. But it appears now, it's more like, I see more like people who have the connection. There are some people who don't have underlying condition, yet they get the vaccine. I'm like, that is not an efficient way to
all
use.
The politicians got it, all the musicians,
yes,
the stars,
to use the resources. If you have a politician in parliament that doesn't have a chronic disease, that is not above 65, his risk level, like based on the data that we know.
But they also go to parliament and interact with people a lot. They're in the public space all the time. So I think
they can still be using the preventive method as we tackle the most section of our society that are most vulnerable and that are most, I mean, if this thing should strike, we'll get them very, but Ghana, it appears they are doing it based on whom you know, based on class, based on elitism. You see, we have to be scientific about how we apply resources.
Right.
If we don't think like this and be deliberate about things, and we always do things the way we do it and expect to get the same outcome like our American folks, I'm sorry, things don't work like that. There's a science to everything, and there's a way to do everything. If you don't apply it and you apply a different method, you won't get a different outcome. That is one of my saddest thing that I see about the approach that they're using. Other than that, I'm going to tell them we are not going to get the vaccine quickly. We know that. It will take some time for those supply constraints to ease, and now we are still begging for vaccines. We haven't been able to get 20 million, of course. Whatever we have now, let's use a risk-based approach to vaccinate our people. On that score, the other thing I'll say is that Ghana, please, let's understand why we do things. Let's not be too much, I mean, reliant on certificate. It's important, but it is not an end in itself. It's just a means to an end. Do not be frightened because somebody too has a doctorate degree. That should not frighten you.
Right.
That should rather encourage you and motivate you to keep higher standard and differentiate yourself. That we all have the same doctorate degree, but what can I do to differentiate myself from that other person? That should be what you should be thinking. Don't be afraid that somebody has a law degree because you also have it. Somebody has. I think that mentality doesn't serve anybody's right. And then the last thing is that on the economy, the economy will open up if we're able to deal with this COVID issue and it tie down. 2020, a lot of people have these ideas that they need to put into motion. They will start demanding dollars. And then we have to be prepared to have reserves to meet this demand. And then as America begins to taper, people will probably think that, hey, it's much better if I put my money in America. Naturally, they'll move money from developing countries to the developed world. Those things are going to come. We shouldn't sit down and think it's by chance. Nothing happened by chance. People plan things and they become deliberate about it. So once we know it's going to come, we have to prepare now for those occasions and not sit down and just think that some providence will come to it. Providence doesn't come to it. We are not in those days where manna will fall. No. People plan and deliberately work through things and then try to mitigate whatever fallout will come out of those things. That is what I would say. Our leaders have to be deliberate and they have to know that things will not come to them. They have to plan on paper and work towards things. Things don't come. So law school, plan and work towards expansion. If you don't have the money, go and see the banks, make arrangements, show them all these numbers that are trying to come into law school.
And they should be able to finance it.
Exactly. If you give us the money, we'll be able to get your money and pay you back. The banks can see the opportunity. They can see the risk through and they will help you finance it. And then they know that education will remain in place forever. They know that you can attract even people from outside Ghana to come and do law in Ghana because you've created some reputation for yourself.
The banks are interested. The banks are mostly interested in buying treasury bills and bonds.
Because you haven't gone to them and show them some plan. Go and show them stuff.
It's more profitable that way. It's more profitable to lend to the government.
All right, I'll leave it here for my other colleague to continue.
Yo, thank you so much for those last words, and they are really strong. And we appreciate you for coming and producing a masterclass. Doc,
yes.
What do you? How do you see today's conversations? What are your conclusions on everything you've heard? And
question.
what are some of the last words you want to leave us with?
Did you say Daniel was part of the NPP?
Yes, Daniel is MPP spokesperson for MPP from New York.
I mean, for the first time, I agreed with Daniel's submissions, like to its entirety. It's like usually I disagree with Ifa sometimes, but Daniel's position is like he's speaking personally about what his convictions, not the party positions.
Not the party's positions, correct?
Yes, because sometimes you know how these party folks like Lifetime would do. But just putting sprinkle some propaganda in everything that they say. But Daniel has been really forthright and coming up with his own convictions about how with education and coming up with practical ideas.
Mm-hmm.
So much that I don't really have much to add to what he's saying. It's like he had the ideas I wanted to express. So Daniel, thank you very much for coming and speaking without a sprinkle of propaganda like my friend Lifetime does.
Daniel, that's good for your first time, and that's you know.
You're really welcome to the family. It's always fun being with Amuzu and his entourage. But like as a healthcare professional, I'm happy that all these conspiracy theories are out of the way now. Right now, people are willing to take the vaccines. And like Daniel said, the rollout was executed poorly because, like I said, they gave it to celebrities and the elites. It was like a hoity-toity kind of stuff. But I'm praying and hoping that this time around they'll prioritize the elderly healthcare professionals to make sure that it is being done. I'm actually appalled by this healthcare ministry, the way they've handled the COVID, the way they've handled the testing at the airports and stuff like that. I'm surprised that the president is still having Mr. Manu in office. He should have been fired a long time ago. And I know that Lifetime would agree with me on this issue.
Right.
But like I said, I'm really pleasure to come here every Saturday to discuss issues with you. And
right.
I wish everyone the best, and I hope viewers also do the same. So
and we want to recognize your efforts in stepping out of the house because
also yes, I do apologize for I had to come and sit in my car.
Oh no, it's their time. You know, the weekends is their time, so yes. we encroach on their time, and we really appreciate that they are able to allow us to have you for these few hours. Thank you so much for coming, and thanks for all your contributions. All right, so on that note, guys, it's been great. I enjoyed the conversations today, and I'm going to repackage this thing, so you'll be seeing it in different ways as I post them. But thanks again, and I want to appreciate all our listeners and viewers who've stuck with us for this 2 hours and 43 minutes. Listening to us talk about issues impacting our dear country. Our goal is to table the discussions that matters for our country as we all strive and work hard to develop it. Thanks for watching again. My name is Alfred Amuzu. We'll be back next week. If it is Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, it's Ghana Agenda Time. Please tell a friend to watch us. Goodbye for now. We'll see you next week.